We were taking the Newlywed Game to fairs and malls and things. And so I got on an airplane in Philadelphia with my friend Charlene Trishon. And Charlene was Jewish, and I always kidded her. She would give me Jewish American princess jokes, and we always kidded about them, you know. And so we got on this plane, and Charlene told me this joke, and the guy next to me told me another joke. And so when we got into Flint, Michigan, where I was born, and went to the fairgrounds, I was told that this fellow named Michael Moore, a news guy, wanted to interview me. And so I said, okay, you know, I'm there to help the fair and everything. So he sits down and starts talking to me. And he starts asking me questions about Flint, Michigan. And I said, Michael, you know, I had my second birthday in California, I don't know. And he just kept pounding, wanted me to say something bad about Flint, wanted me to say something bad about Flint, and I just wouldn't. And I finally said, look, sucker, I'm not gonna say anything bad about Flint, Michigan, so get over it. And the cameraman then says, the sun's coming through the clouds, could we hold off? And he pretended like he turned the camera off. So I'm sitting there, and I remember one joke I told. I said, you know, being a smartass I was then, and you know, I've learned a great deal. I said, I mowed my lawn with my shirt off the other day. I'm trying to think what the joke was. Anyway, it was a self-destruction joke about me, and then Charlene says, "Well, tell him the one you heard this morning on the airplane." And so I told that joke, and he pretended like he turned the camera back on, and he went on with the interview. Okay, about a year later, my secretary says, you're getting some really bad reviews at the Toronto Film Festival about you being in a movie. I said, I haven't been in any movie. I don't know what the heck you're talking about. She says, well, you know, this guy, Michael Moore, did this thing called Roger and Me, and he had got a standing ovation. I said, I haven't done a movie. So I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so I went to my attorney, and Irv Weinstein, good attorney, good guy, Jewish. And I said, Irv, I don't know what I've done. I don't know what I've done. So they sent a stenographer into the New York Film Festival to write down what I had said. And when I was told, I just almost died. The fact that this guy would take something like that I told when I thought the camera was off. I shouldn't have told the joke. Should not have told the joke. And I have learned you don't tell ethnic jokes. You know, it's just a bad thing to do. So I went to Dog Eat Dog Productions, Michael Moore's production, and I said, please take that out. And they wouldn't do it. I went to Warner Brothers, who was distributing, and I said, come on, man. You know, they wouldn't take it out, said they couldn't touch the negative. So I had to sit in theaters, and they used the joke in the trailer in the theaters, too. And I remember I ran into the cameraman at Caesar's Palace one night, several years later. He says, you really got screwed, didn't you? I said, I really did. And fortunately, I wasn't on the air at the time, but I went to the Anti-Defamation League, and I said, I'm here to apologize. And they were wonderful, wonderful. And fortunately, I told the joke about a segment of our population that has compassion. I could have been on the hit list of somebody else, but I learned a great lesson. It made me a better person. I wouldn't tell an ethnic joke, you know, for anything in the world, because there's just no place in our society for that. And I have forgiven Michael Moore. The only thing I can say, like I said in the book, that if I ever meet him in a men's room, I'll probably just beat the shit out of him, but other than that, I've forgiven him.
You never confronted him?
No.
Called him anything?
No. And he went on, I remember, he went on Phil Donahue, and a guy asked the question, why did you put the Bob Eubanks joke in your movie? And he says, well, I just wanted to prove to society that that kind of discrimination exists in America. You jerk.
How did it possibly weigh in with the theme he was trying?
It didn't. He just used me. And here again, we go back to First Amendment rights. If you are a known individual, you don't have First Amendment rights. I couldn't say, hey, I didn't say that, because obviously I did. That was the dumb thing. But would I have said something like that on camera? Oh my God, no. But you see, he is not a documentary man. He's a propagandist. That's my opinion. And when I saw him get booed off the stage at the Academy Awards, I went, thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Have you ever seen the movie?
No. And then years later, PBS gave him some money to do an addition to Roger and Me. And, I couldn't believe that they did that. But, hey. I remember Ed Asner was one of the suppliers of money for that, for Roger and Me. And I saw him on an airplane. And I said, Ed, how could you do that, man? How could you do that? He said, well, I didn't know what I was getting into. I said, okay.